Hi, I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company, and you're at the Underground Meadery. All right, so the first mead we did was a traditional, nice, easy mead. We're going to add an adjunct to it now. And what I've got is apple cider. I've got a gallon of apple cider, and what I did is I just poured out 2 cups and put it in our coffee pot. Remember, we're using a coffee pot to heat everything up, to get everything at a temperature to dissolve our honey and to get our sugars ready. So what's really cool about what I'm showing you is I can take this jug, pour out just what I did there, add my yeast to it, and we've made a hard cider. That's how easy a hard cider is. You could use grapes. There's a grape wine. So you just take your jug, pour a little bit out, throw your yeast in it, and you've made something simple like wine or a cider. That's how easy it is to make ciders and wines. But we want to boost the alcohol content. We want a finer premium product. So we're going to add honey to it. So let's go over everything I got. I've got 1 gallon of apple cider. Make sure you always shake up your apple cider. Make sure all the ingredients and stuff from the bottom are all up inside of it. I've got 2.5 pounds of AB friendly clover honey. I've got my 1 gallon fermentation jug with a lid. I've got 1 pack of Red Star Yellow, which is the Premier Blanc that we'll be using. I'll be using a traditional balloon for the airlock on this one. I have my measuring device to put in to check my specific gravity. I've got my temperature gauge. I've got my hydrometer. What the next thing you guys need to do is you take out your index card, and on the top of it we're going to write Cyser. Apple Cyser. We'll be using 1 gallon apple cider, 2.5 pounds clover honey. We'll be using 1 pack of the Red Star Yellow. We'll be getting our starting gravity, our temperature, today's date, okay. So I've got everything and all our ingredients right on our chart. So let's go ahead and start with this. We'll go ahead and open up our honey here and we'll get it going in the jug. Now, if you don't have nice runnable honey, because the jugs are small mouthed, right? Unless you can get big mouth jugs, right? Be careful on your pour and then bring it up. Right, that way you don't get a big air bubble. Because if you get too much honey going in at once, air won't be able to escape from the jug, and you'll have a huge mess coming out of the top of your jug. So that's why I give a little bit of air. Look at that, just nice free flowing honey. As you can tell, our clover honey has a little bit of redness to it. I think that's because we're by a Mexican saffron field. We do a little saffron and clover pollination. But this is tested, and this is mostly clover honey. Look at that, huh? Nice, easy pour. All right, and then you always give it a turn and a lift. No honey runs out. Now remember, we put a little bit of cider in our coffee pot as we run it through. After you run your cider through it, remember to run 2 rounds of hot water to clean it out. I'm going to put a little hot apple cider in there. Put my lid back on, but before I put my lid back on, give your plastic jug a squeeze. because the hot water added to the honey will make this bulge out from the steam. Now I'm getting all the residual honey out here. I want all the honey that I can get out of my jars. See that? Nice. Boy, it doesn't get any easier than this. All right, so now we've got our honey in here. We've got it completely out of our container. I am going to add a little bit more of the hot apple cider. This was 2 cups is what I poured in here. What I do now is I put my lid back on my jug, and now we're going to dissolve the honey. Nice. See that? No honey stuck to the jug. Got a good dissolve ratio. Take your lid top off, and now I'm going to add my apple cider. I'm going to give it one more little shake, make sure all any particles or stuff on the bottom we want for flavoring. So we'll get all that out. Look at that nice steady pour, huh? Now I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on it here real quick. Mix that up real good. All right. Boom, all the way up to the neck of the jug. Give me enough headroom for the activation of the yeast. All right, got a little bit of cider left over to drink here a little bit. All right. Now, we've got it all done. We've just made an apple Cyser using 2.5 pounds of honey and apple cider. Like I said before, making wines and ciders is a lot easier. Just add the yeast to your juice. Really simple. We went ahead and added some honey to this to boost the alcohol content and premium flavor. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a reading. This is where you're going to take and pour just a little bit of cider in your flask. You're going to take out your hydrometer. This is going to give us our potential alcohol reading. All right. Look at that bob up there and float. That's a good thing. Give it a little spin. All right, let's see what our reading is. Now, for every pound of honey we add, remember we get about 5% alcohol. So we've added 2.5 pounds. So we're looking at about 12%. Now the apple juice will raise it up because of the sugar content in it. So we're looking at 1.130. Let me write that down as our starting gravity. 1.130. And on that mark, 15, 16, our potential gravity or alcohol reading is about 17%. So that's a good alcohol content. 2.5 pounds of honey and a little bit of apple cider. All right, we'll take that off. Remember, we're going to clean all of our instruments off. All right, so now I'm going to take a temperature reading. Right, the goodest temperatures that I found are at about 75 to 78 degrees to get your yeast working. Need to read your yeast packs that you're working. Ours works really good at 75 degrees. So we try to get everything acclimated to room temperature. Yeast works the best between 68 and 78 degrees. So we're just going to take a quick temperature reading and see if we're at 75. 78. So that's good. We can pitch yeast. Now, as you notice, I just didn't dump this back into my jug. This is why. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my yeast pack. Pour it in here, and this is a dry drop. Now, I could have dumped this and this together and watched it rise, making a yeast starter, then dumping the yeast starter in. But this is called a dry drop. Now, if you wanted to, I could have measured out a little bit of this and not use the whole pack. This could do up to 3 to 5 gallons. We're using 1 gallon, so I could have broke this off into about 3 different increments. But now I'm just going to pour back in our test vessel. Mixes up with all that yeast. Turn around. Put my balloon on top. And we're all set. You just made a premium fine cider, right? This apple Cyser is just made with premium apple cider from the store, 2.5 pounds of clover honey, and a nice 1 gallon jug. So it's really easy to make an adjunct. So the first one you saw was just a regular clover mead. Now you just saw us add apple cider. We hope that you'll tune in again. Share this with a lot of people. Let them know that this is a premium product that they can make at home in 1 gallon batches. I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company. You're down here at the Underground Meadery, and we're teaching you how to brew.